As you can see, we have Swiss partners. We have exclusive partnership with Switzerland. The Swiss government supports Skillsonics. In India, NSTC we are a partner of NSTC, and NSTC also has taken an equity in Skillsonics. So that shows the importance it gives to our model. But it has been quite a challenge for us to move forward. I've also mentioned that we have to, and we did, and we continue to do so, that we are adapting the Swiss model. We cannot replicate a model from one country to another. It's obvious for many reasons. So let me start with some few facts which are related to vocational education and training, and it's related to the productivity, efficiency, and quality of a nation. Look at Switzerland. It's a small country, surrounded by five, six countries, so which means no sea route, and very low on natural resources other than water because of the snow which they have. And it has established itself as a country where everything they do is focused on excellence and quality and productivity. A small, rich country, to be productive and to be actually competing in the world, it's not easy. We all know that even a company, when it gets rich, it starts to become careless. We individuals also, when we start to have a little more money, we start to become careless. We become less efficient. But this is one country I found that they have managed to keep that efficiency and productivity and quality and precision as their mantra to succeed in the world. You must also know that Swiss companies, the major market for the Swiss company is not Switzerland. It's a small country, 8 million. So the major market for all Swiss companies, at least the bigger ones, is all over the world, which means they have been able to adapt their quality, adapt their productivity, adapt their costing and pricing so that they can compete in a country like India also, or America, or any other part of the world. It's also interesting to note that Switzerland, just not too far away, maybe 50 years or 100 years ago, was not a very rich country. And it was primarily only an agri country, farm-based, very little farming because of the climate and other reasons, but that was, dairy and farming was one of the major part of the economy. But today, the World Competitive Reports puts Switzerland as number one, as a business competitive nation. And it is not just funds, it's definitely to do with its people, the ability to bring its people to a very, very high level of quality focus and productivity, which is what I feel has happened in the vocational system in Switzerland, which I will try to enable. Some of the highlights, very, very interesting highlights. I start with highlights and then tell you who are the participants in the Swiss model and how does this actually work. And we can learn from that. We can at least take some ideas from there and also try to implement some of them for our future. First and foremost, I think what's fascinating is the Swiss school system, 9th grade is the compulsory schooling, which is up to 9th grade, it's a standard schooling, like we have maybe up to 10th grade. At 9th standard, actually the students have a choice to go either the vocational stream or the academic stream. And you know how many people across the country go vocational? 70%. Which means 70%, almost 70% of every 100 students at 9th grade choose to find a vocational path for themselves. What is also interesting is that they are also choosing based on their passion and aspiration, which means there is a thinking of the student to say, I'm interested in a hotel industry, I'm interested in a tourism industry, I'm interested in a law, I'm interested in banking, and he can choose a vocation related to that. There are more than 240 vocations defined for the country, which means every working person, in a particular job role or in a particular vocation is predefined, and the students have a choice to go to one of those 240 vocations, including carpentry, including boat building, including an administrative person, including a PR person, HR person, everything is defined as a vocation. The Another interesting thing is this is I would say is one of the highlights in how Switzerland has managed to do it, is that they've been able to get the industry, all industry, across all sectors, to actually come and recruit apprentices at 9th grade. We're talking about the age of 15 or 16 years, boys and girls of the school. The companies actually are recruiting apprentices according to their demand. They know the demand in their industry, they know the demand in the sector. They actually try to market those vocations to the schools, explain to the students, and then recruit them as an apprentice, which means the next 3 to 4 years, these students are working in the company as an apprentice. They're trained, they're working, they're certified, and they become industry ready within the next 3 to 4 years. Almost all students by 15 to 20, I'm talking about 70% of the country, are 100% industry ready. Now what do you mean by industry ready? It's not just the technical aspects of that vocation. It's also the working aspects, the work skills of an industry. Knowing about safety, knowing about environment, knowing about disaster management, all that is built into the program. Which means that at a young age of 20, 70% of school students of Switzerland have the ability to work independently in their vocation in any organization within Switzerland. Be it a hotel receptionist, be it a hotel back-end accountant, or be it a hospital staff, everyone is trained, assessed, certified, and then ready to launch into their career. I'll also explain to you how this whole thing is also working on an apprenticeship mode, like Bob said, and is also working on a public-private partnership mode. The whole design of the system is such that everyone plays its role. 50% of the funding comes from the government in different ways, and the 50% of the funding for the training is done by the industry or the company. But what is interesting to note is that 50% of the money which is spent by the companies comes back to the companies in the form of productive time during this apprenticeship. Which means net the companies are not spending. And overall the government is spending only 50% of the cost of the total requirement of a very high quality, very broad-based vocational training on a particular career path. Let me list down what each of the actors or the participants, contribute into the whole vocational education system. The first is, of course, the federal cantons, which is equivalent to the central state governments. As I said, they have a process of actually helping the industries to get the apprentice from the schools. So all the schools in their cantons and all the industries in these cantons, they put it together and they help the whole process of recruitment as well as confirmation between the industry and apprentice. The industry or the company actually has a contract with a 15-year-old apprentice. He actually has a contract for the next 3 to 4 years where they're going to probably work for 30% of the time, productive time. The balance 70% goes into training, and this is serious training. It's a serious 8-hour training, theory, practical skills, soft skills, all blended into it. The cantons also participate by managing the whole assessment process so that there's a uniform standard across the country. As I said, they fund close to 50%. They also fund another organization which I'll talk about, which sets the standards required for VET across the country. And that's called SWIVET, which I'll just talk about later. So this is the role they play, and they are not involved in content development. They are not involved in assessment. The whole content development, courseware development, and the assessment is managed by the industry for the industry, which means it's very close to something like how the sector skills councils are doing. The idea of creating a courseware through the sector skills council is the input is coming from the industry and the outcome is also meant for the industry. SWIVET is again a government organization, which is an individual, I would say a research and innovation VET institute, which does a lot of research, but primarily they play a role in training of the trainers and training of the assessors and also building the standards and quality, the processes required for courseware development. And I'll tell you why these three are the most important aspects of achieving excellence and quality in VET. If you don't have the right trainers and the right qualified trainers, you could have the best courseware, the outcome will be low. If you don't have the right assessors, even if the training has been weak, the assessors can catch them. An assessment methodology itself for vocational education is completely different from an academic vocation assessment. You actually have to simulate the workplace, skills requirement and test the person for that workplace skill. If a person is doing a job on a lathe, it is not the job which is a focus. It's how does he plan his work? Does he keep the place clean? Does he plan his work? Does he actually clean after? Does he work? Does he test it while he's going through? All these are individual steps for excellence and quality, which is what is tested in the assessment. So the depth of assessment is actual simulation of what's happening in the shop floor. The industrial association, which is just all the members of a particular sector, there are multiple sectors, and each sector has created its own vocational courses for that sector. And they have bundled it because this is a 3 to 4 year course, so it's quite a broad-based course. The industrial association funds the courseware development. It also prepares the trainers and assessors for the courseware. Even if you have a course, there's a lot of work to be done across the country to train the trainers, train the assessors to be able to understand this whole concept of this course. Prepare the assessment papers and continuously align the courses between what the industry needs and what the course is providing. And this is a very important aspect because this is completely given to the industry. There may be vocations which are actually going out of need, and there may be new topics which are coming into the need. Who actually fine-tunes it and updates it on a continuous process and make sure that the industry demand and the courses are continuously aligned. Industries, like I said, they recruit happily so in Switzerland. Because they see the big value of the productivity gain which they're getting. They also make sure that the demand of the industry is what matches the supply of people who are getting educated. And this is a very beautiful thing. How do you ensure that the demand of the country and the education is matching with the demand? Yeah, both in numbers, quality and quantity. And this happens automatically. So it's a felt self kind of tuning mechanism within themselves. They also invest, as I said, in training, but they're able to get back the money in productive time. So the end they get a huge number of apprentices which are world-class, high quality, readily deployable, full-time after 20 years of age. If you look at apprentices, it's a great win-win for them. The parents and students don't have to spend money after 16 years. The industry is actually taking them. They are getting stipend during those 4 years, so even they get some pocket money as they grow. And they're working in an industry to its standards in its processes. So they're already industry ready from a behavior point of view. In punctuality, in environment, in safety is built into the system. Quickly, I'll just spend 2 minutes on the slide. To summarize, the industrial association, the company, and the players are playing their own role. No one is spending money with each other. Everyone is playing their role, and the outcome comes into to excellence. And that's basically the strength of the Swiss system. We tested the system for 3 years in the first few years, 2009 to 11, and we see it's worked. We obviously did not copy the system as it is. We had adapted the content, we adapted the trainer's course, we adapted the assessor's course to Indian requirement, and we tested with the PPP model. We trained ITI teachers for the theory and the company instructors for the practicals, and the outcome has been excellent. I mean, they're very happy with it. But today what we have done, briefly, I can tell you that we have tried to broad base our offering to all models. The apprenticeship model at a corporate level, at the company level who are interested in the long-term, high-quality, world-class apprenticeship mode outcome, and the institute model with all the NSTC courses and the sector skills courses. We have the Swiss know-how, we have the ability to reuse it, we have a cooperation agreement, exclusive, which means we have the strength to bring all that into India in a fairly low-cost manner. So we are looking at company workshops to align with us, CSR institutes we can help, when any other institute which wants to do world-class skill training is what we support. We act as a knowledge partner. We are not a trainer ourselves. We are master trainers, we are master content developers, and so on, but we support. And our interest is that in the next 3 to 5 years, we would probably have 100 institutes across India, not our own, whom we'll be supporting from a know-how point of view, and they'll be actually implementing. Thank you. I hope I was able to summarize the strength of the system.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chandrakumar. I think the unique feature of this initiative I see is that the selection based on liking and aptitude of the candidates. And the other thing is that the vocational part is embedded in the school education, start early in the school, and there lies the success of the scheme.